What's going on, Wisconsin? Happy Wednesday. Boy, that never gets old, does it? I know y'all love it. We got to keep rocking with it. Shout out to, wow, they're here already. We got Danny in the house. We got Randy. Thank you, gentlemen, for stopping out. Always appreciate your support and everyone else out there. Again, we are out here in Wisconsin, the island of prohibition, figuring it out together as we go. But like I say, it would be nothing without you guys. So appreciate your support. Also, want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors who make things possible. We've got the folks over at Ignite Dispensary. Just had another drink this evening from Frowny Nation. If you haven't seen their drink lineup, it's awesome. Again, those guys are going to be located, and obviously Flower and all that good stuff too. They're going to be located Spooner, Hayward, Milwaukee. I'm forgetting the other two, but that's okay because they are everywhere. Ignite Dispensary, check them out. Get your goods. It's worth the drive. We'll have a couple more announcements coming up that I'm looking forward to as far as things go with sponsorship. So stay tuned. Excited about that front. But really excited for tonight's show, tonight's guest. Well, it was 2 weeks ago. We got a chance to kind of dive into Wisconsin hemp and where some of that really comes from and what that looks like. Today, we're going to be kind of talking to the other side of that. So not so much the growing side, but now once you've got this biomass or this flower that you can get converted, how does all that work? And shout out to tonight's guest and the way he's running his operation. You can definitely tell when it comes to quality and such. It's not just for some folks, it's fun. That's cool. But there's a lot of people who take a lot of pride in what they do and how they do it. And I think you'll see that tonight with Ryan here. So let me quit yapping. Let's get Ryan in here. Ryan, how we doing, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me, Bobby.
Absolutely, man. You're located down in Milwaukee area with Goodland Extracts. That's correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're located in the Bayview area of Milwaukee, which is just south of downtown.
Okay, right on. And when it comes to, I always like to kind of start things out. How did you get into the point where you were like, hey, let's do this? And was this your first venture in cannabis, or kind of how'd that roll out for you, man?
Definitely first venture in cannabis. So, we had a Tuesday night guys night, me and three of my best buddies in the world. Every Tuesday night we'd get together, kind of hang out and just talk, do our thing, relax.
Sure.
We've all wanted to get into the cannabis industry. So late 2019, obviously hemp was legalized. One guy's an electrical engineer, one guy's a chemist, one guy's a master at operations, and I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur. And we looked at like, where do our skill sets align? And we came up with processing. So November of 2019, we started writing the business plan. And during COVID, that is what we did. We raised a little over $1 million, 25 grand at a time from friends, families, investors, and kind of sold off a portion of the company to start it. And by May of 2020, we had the money raised, and we kind of chronicled the build out in the open of the extraction facility on various Facebook pages. And there we were.
That's awesome, man. Especially because there was a time when so many people there was a lot of dark days during COVID when we couldn't go do anything and all that. So kudos to you guys for, was cannabis involved in making this happen? Right. I mean, cannabis is a beautiful thing. You're sitting there like, hey, let's not be sorry about this. Let's do something about it. So that's awesome, man. Devin, Chad in the house. Thanks for stopping by, guys. We appreciate your support. No, really neat. And it's cool. Let's actually start because again, I don't think a lot of people understand what extraction and processing looks like. So do you do more so with, is it like, do you do white labeling or like what's the day-to-day operations look like? Do people sending stuff in like the flower and biomass to you to say, hey, I need some drinks, or do they send it to you to get the Delta 9, or how does that work?
Well, we can start to kind of where we started to kind of where we are, right? 2019, 2020, there really wasn't a supply chain. It was chaos, would be kind of the best word for it.
Can imagine.
So, when we first started, it was just scrambling to find, different clients, different farmers, people who needed help, right? There was a few, I think there was 7 or 8 extraction facilities in the state at that time. Some of which weren't doing the best of business. And we had a lot of trickle over from those guys where the farmers came to us and we extracted their plant for them. And back then it was, they paid us to extract it. We gave them back their oil. And sadly, the farmer had to grow it and then they had to be a salesperson. So that wasn't really a winning formula. Fast forward to now, last year we grew 160 acres and we processed all of that. And we have a supply chain where on a monthly basis, we send out anywhere from 1,200 to 1,800 kilos a month to our, various supply agreements. This year, we plan on growing about 350 acres and doing the same thing, just increasing our supply. I mean, our products, we basically what we do to get back to how we do it, right? Product gets grown, by a fully licensed, fully legal farmers. They grow it to our specifications. They dry it, they mill it up on a monthly basis. It gets shipped to us. We do what's called cryoethanol extraction. So we chill ethanol to negative 80C, and we introduce that into a centrifuge where it's kind of like a big washing machine basin. It spins the 55-pound bags of hemp with freezing cold ethanol, and then it comes out of there, goes through our proprietary filtration process, and then we recover it through a falling film where you recover about 98% of the ethanol out of it and separate it, reuse the ethanol, and then it goes through what's called a DR10 where it heats it up and pulls out under vacuum the other, 2% or so of ethanol in. And then what you have after that is crude oil. Generally, that's a 65 to 70% potent concentrate. And then from there, it depends on what the specs are and what the buyers want. Do they want it further refined to distillate? Do they want it to isolate? And
so the crude, is that going to have like all the cannabinoids in it, right? That's essentially, and then that's where you're saying though, they might say, hey, we just want this part of it, or
so we basically do the first part of that
so
process.
You can do all that there.
We do the extraction there, and we can do distillation as well. But generally, we're just doing crude extraction, and then we're pushing it up the line to other formulators that are doing the distillation, the isolation, and then they do co-packing and they do other products for people. So our raw ingredients are in over, I think, almost 1,100 different products throughout the world.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And then also something I just learned, I didn't really ever do the math on, because if you got to go into like 300 acres, you don't, how much, it's like a kilo. It's just, you got a lot of.
Oh, yeah. So I can tell you. So it's to make 1 kilo of crude oil. And again, it's depending on the potency of the biomass, but it's usually anywhere from 20 to 28 pounds takes to make 1 kilo of crude oil.
Sure. Okay. That's that'll keep you busy.
We run 24 hours a day, 5 days a week right now.
That's what you're saying. That's well, there's not many left in the state. Is that correct?
I don't believe so. We don't keep tracks on them.
I suppose, right?
I think there's 3 other ones that we kind of know of and talk to on a regular basis. There could be more. I'm unaware.
That's fair.
We don't really keep lists anymore.
Yeah, I feel you. Let's see here. I know a lot of companies right now are outsourcing. I feel like, just kind of my understanding and try and watch and see how everything's going out there in the industry, it feels like there was a lot more focus on like trying to keep things Wisconsin there for a while. Have you seen kind of a shift, or like, is there a way for a consumer to tell when they go to check out a product, like, hey, where's some of this stuff actually kind of made here in Wisconsin? Is this from here? I've been learning more about like the conversions market and stuff. Like what's going on out there as far as like, if you're, because again, we're in an industry where there is no book you have to follow really on how to make any of this stuff. If you go to the store, you see 30 different drinks. Is there a way to kind of tell like, oh, this one came from this guy? What does the consumers be looking for out there?
Sadly, there really isn't right now. I mean, you have to be truthful and transparent, on your labeling, right? Per the law.
Sure.
Now, I don't know if everybody is always following the law as strict as we do, but no, right now there's no way to know, where the extract or hemp derived THC or CBD, whatever's in that, has come from. When we started processing, we processed probably 98% of the hemp we processed came from Wisconsin. But
Okay.
sadly, it was a gold rush on the way in, and then the bottom just fell out because there was not, a supply chain built out yet.
Sure.
And way too many farmers lost, sadly, far too much money. And, a lot of them got out of the industry and are no longer growing. So it's pretty difficult to find, bulk hemp in Wisconsin. I think you had Alex on your
Yep.
podcast a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he grows a lot and grows a really good product. So he's one of the largest ones we've dealt with in the state. But other than that, I mean, most people are growing 1,000 to 3,000 pounds, just to give you, that's an acre.
Sure.
Big guys in the state now that we've seen are 5 acres.
Sure.
So
And
it's difficult to kind of piece it together still. I'm hoping, I mean, there is now a legitimate supply chain. I'm hoping farmers come back in and start growing. I mean, we would love to be sourcing more of it here. I mean, right now,
sure.
most of it's grown in Kentucky. We have a few smaller farmers here that we do work with.
Gotcha.
But sadly, there's just not enough of them to kind of keep up with the demand on the
Sure.
concentrate side.
Well, and that's where hopefully with just that's the reason we do the podcast and enjoy having folks like yourself on. I just think we as consumers or we as just normal Wisconsinites, right, who don't have a business here in Wisconsin, when you hear that, it's just like, even if we go legal, which, has its pluses and minuses or, whatever the next step looks like, to know there's a broken supply chain and farmers have a bad taste in their mouth, like there's a lot that needs to be done. And I think, having those conversations, trying to make those connections now. Again, we're talking politics and politicians, so who knows when they're going to pull the trigger, what that's going to look like. So just glad that we were able to start getting some minds together, and hopefully when there's something, it'll be hey, what do you guys think? You, the guys who have been through this, or Ryan, who we're working with all those hemp farmers and they went away. What happened, right? Not just here's what we think is going to work. So appreciate you coming on here just to bring some light and explain what you're doing over there in Milwaukee. So pretty cool stuff. If I'm not mistaken, well, I know I'm not mistaken. I'm not going to lie. You guys have an extensive line of hemp-derived drinks. What inspired you to enter that space? And actually, I think I got it ready to pull up here. But I know drinks are are they still pretty hot around here, or how's that work? What got you guys going on drinks?
Yeah, I mean, we saw an opportunity in the market to have some high quality, great tasting hemp beverages. I mean, Wisconsin is a state of drinking and celebrating and just hanging out at bars and restaurants, right? That is ingrained in our culture. I mean, so we wanted to offer. We initially started 3 years ago. We started the ones that are on the screen now, the CBD beverages. We started with those almost 3 years ago now. We wanted just another way for people who don't, necessarily want to always have alcohol, right? It's not a this or that, it's an and, right? Let's add this so you can also have these people come to your facility. So we started with the CBD beverages just so people can still participate in that social ritual of going out and having a drink. The CBD beverage is really good. So we decided to get into a hemp-derived D9 drinks, and they've been just absolutely taking off. You can see the cherry pie one and the lemonade that were in the middle of the screen there. We recently entered those into a nationwide competition, and the lemonade was number 1 in the Midwest, number 1 in the state, and actually took second place nationally for the best tasting hemp-derived D9 beverage on the market. And the cherry pie was best in class and actually had the number 1 packaging in the entire country.
That is some sharp packaging. I will definitely tell you that. I am definitely on the lemonade kick. I know I had a couple of those. I can see why you won a prize with that. I have been on a soda. Can't have soda with this paleo caveman diet thing, but I can definitely sneak in some lemonade. So I did share a link if you guys want to check out their products. Looks like we got Chad and Lando. Thanks for stopping by. Chad says they are delicious. Chad seems like he's a straight shooter, so I take his word. And then you guys also do, and it just makes sense. I mean, you're doing all the crude and everything to have a line of gummies and stuff on there as well. So very cool to see. Get this off the screen because it's really large and we can't see us. There we go. Right on. We had, where did this go? What do you think about when it comes to the rise of hemp-derived THC products? How do you ensure compliance and consumer safety? What does that look like on, well, I guess not much has really changed in Wisconsin, but how do you is it kind of you set from the beginning, like, hey, we need to have some high standards. We see there's not much out there as far as guidelines, so let's just protect our ass, or how do you keep up with all that?
All of the above. I mean, one of our founders is actually a food chemist, classically trained chemist. So
Okay,
he's very good at kind of keeping the SOPs sharp. Everything's just about transparency, third-party testing, vigorous third-party testing, kind of throughout the process, right? You're testing the concentrate, you're
sure,
testing the end product, you're doing full panels, you're just checking everything through a third party to make sure what you're saying is in that product is actually in that product. So we use our co-packer is a very, very large beverage manufacturer here in Wisconsin, actually about 2 miles down the road from my house.
oh,
They're
works out pretty good.
phenomenal. I mean, they test everything. They're very vigorous. They won't let anything out the doors without having multiple rounds of third-party testing, and it has to remain within compliance with all of their standards. Although there is no, federally or state standards on those things, we're going to hold ourselves to a higher standard, and hopefully that some rules and regulations come down the pipeline pretty quick, because you really
Sure.
don't want the Wild West. It's never any good for consumers or consumer safety. So
Sure, I completely agree with that, and you can kind of tell. I feel like the folks who are putting the time and the effort to do all that testing and everything, you're getting a consistent end product in that can. And I see it quite a bit where people are like, hey, I tried a drink and it didn't work, or it would. And it's like, well, do you know your dosage? Like, there's just enough things out there for people to try to figure out. And then you run into, like, is it delta 8 THC? Because some people just put THC. And so I think, it sounds like a little extra work, but I think you're going to set yourself up for success doing those measures, because again, consistency, especially when it comes to drinks or edibles with cannabis. That's one thing that I know in an unregulated market can be a headache for consumers. Is, man, I don't know. Sometimes it really, and obviously it can depend on if we have fats in it, fatty solubles
well,
and
it's
all
more
that
about
stuff.
like the
But
emulsification, like
sure,
how is it emulsified? Like how are the cannabinoids? Is it a nano emulsification, right? That it just can kind of keep it consistent throughout the batches, right? And also, like, what size batches are these people running as well? Are they small
yeah,
batches? Are they large batches? So there's
that's
a
a good
lot
point.
of different intricacies in there that you have to be checking those things throughout the process to make sure that everything is compliance from the small batch to the large batch. It's the same, right? Just like any
Sure,
other edible products, you want it to be the same every time you try it, and you want it to be safe, and you want it, again, labeling, and you say what it is exactly what it is in the can or in the
nope,
bottle.
I agree with you there. Let's see here. How do you decide your flavors? Somebody had asked. Is that
Ooh. Um,
you guys chill at
we
night and
kind of
you just
come up
try
with
all these different?
yeah, I mean, we kind of talk about them internally, what we're looking for next, right? We started with the lemonade, then we went to the cherry pie, and then we just recently launched these other four flavors. So just we like to be pretty precise with the formulation techniques. We work pretty closely with, like, I'll call them flavor experts,
Okay,
to ensure that the drinks taste, amazing every time. And
sure,
then, again, maintaining the exact potency throughout it. The consistency comes down to just rigorous testing and quality
sure.
control at every single stage of that production. And it helps that we know what emulsification is going to each thing as well. So
No, that
just
makes sense.
again, just a lot of R&D. The first one took us 14 months to launch, and now we've kind of got that down to about
Dialed
three
in a little
months,
bit.
4 months. We're able to
Okay,
launch new flavors.
that's pretty cool, man. And also, I'm definitely not a flavor expert, but I am free. You send me something, I'll give you a full page report on what it tastes like, what I think of it. I got you covered. So just keep
Hey,
that in your
we'll
back
make sure
pocket
we
if
get
you need me.
you. We got a 6-pack sampler on the website right now, so you can literally taste one of each flavor of the drink.
Oh,
So I'll
that's
make
cool.
sure that when we get done here,
I'll
I'll
be
get you a
stopping
dress.
down there. Yep, that
Okay.
sounds good.
We'd love to give you a
Appreciate
tour.
that. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Where do you see this? Would be wow. I would like to see what you think of this, just because here you are in this industry, like you just said, and it's the Wild West. You can't really do whatever you want. But somebody said, where do you see the Wisconsin hemp industry heading in the next 5 years?
I mean, I fully expect to see continued growth, especially in like the hemp-derived THC and like the functional hemp-based products.
Sure.
One of the biggest rises we've actually seen is in our gummies. We kind of formulated them for like, we say get good, right? Goodland Extracts, get good is one of our taglines, but
Ooh,
like
okay.
get good is different to different people, right? Like to me, get good, I need to wake up in the morning, right? So I'll
Sure.
do our gummies that have a little bit of caffeine or CBG in it.
Okay.
Some people get good is they need to sleep better. So we have a
Right.
gummy with CBN and CBD and melatonin, right? So I think kind of functional based, like what you're looking to do, right? But again, we need more oversight within the industry because you can't make claims, you can't make medical
Sure.
claims. So everything is relax,
Yeah.
refresh and relax, or
Right.
calm down. So some additional regulation would help. I think consumer education and like regulation clarity will play a big role in kind of shaping where this industry does go.
Sure.
Wisconsin has a super strong agricultural foundation. We are a state of farmers. So I mean, I see potential for the state to become a leader in like high quality hemp production. It's just we need the oversight, we need laws, we need regulation and clarity, right? You can't have laws changing every year or
Right.
every other year or from state to state. You kind of
Sure.
need a law that's across the board, through
Sure.
the country. But I
And,
fully see it growing and keeping going.
no pun intended, growing, he
Yeah.
says.
Yeah.
Uh, that is a good point. And what would be, if it were, if you were to be tapped, which again, hopefully some of these people start talking to some folks like yourself, like, hey, what should we do?
Yeah.
When we talk about regulation and stuff, and not just getting slapped with regulation that they kind of pull out of thin air from a different state. But in your eyes, if Wisconsin were to legalize cannabis fully, how do you think the hemp industry should play into what that looks like? Do you think it has a
I mean,
place?
yeah, it definitely has a place. I mean, it's going to create opportunities, and it's going to create challenges as well, right? I think some hemp businesses might pivot their cannabis operations, their hemp operations over to legal THC cannabis.
Sure.
Others might focus on niche markets like minor cannabinoids and hemp-derived wellness products. Either way, I mean, it's going to reshape the landscape and open new doors for innovation.
Sure.
We would probably just have like a smaller secondary line that does that product, right? Our main thing is hemp, and we've
Sure.
got a pretty good
Got
supply
it
chain
dialed in.
going. We're not going to reset that and go away. But
Sure.
it would be nice to be able to dabble in that and kind of have very niche products. Like we would love to get into like ice washing and cold washing and things like that. At that point is
Oh, that'd be
probably
cool.
what we
Sure.
would do a little different route.
Yeah, I like that. And I fully agree that I think, in my opinion, legalization, whatever you want to call it, the next step to like full plant freedom. I know a lot of people get excited when I say one word or the other, but again, in my opinion, it's just people aren't going to jail. We can grow it, right? Like those things, whatever that looks like. I definitely feel like you look at a an industry like, let's just say, a dispensary in Michigan or in a legal state, and then but still the product line that you have in the hemp industry here in Wisconsin, I can definitely see those two working together and not really canceling each other out much either, because there's just a lot of potential. And if you were, again, to sit down with a group of folks who are in these industries and try to brainstorm, there's definitely a way forward together, in my opinion. And I think we could be a state that actually gets that right if, again, we can get some conversations started where those need to happen. So keep
Yeah, I
your
mean,
phone on ring.
we work with multiple other states in distribution of our drinks,
Oh, sure.
and it's different rules and regulations for every state. Like Michigan, we can't do business within Michigan with what we have, but we do business in Minnesota, but it has to be a certain milligram per serving. Whereas
Sure.
like in Wisconsin, it can be a 10 milligram can, one serving.
Right.
Minnesota, a 5 milligram per
Two
serving,
serve.
two servings per
Yeah.
can. Iowa is 4 milligrams max. So
Gotcha.
there's a patchwork of rules and
Interesting.
regulations in different states, and it'd be nice for everybody to play nice and work together and have one set of rules, one set of regulations. But until it gets to that point, you have to be diligent and very transparent and know the regulations and the license that's required to kind of enter these other territories.
Nope, I agree. It's a good point. We got a question here. Somebody said that lemonade can sure looks familiar. Where are those at, or where can I find those at? I do feel
Yeah.
like I.
So if you go to our website, there's a locator. You
Oh,
can
okay,
find them all over the place. But some local places down by us, you've got Festival Foods.
okay.
I think the lemonade's in over like 400 different locations in the state right now.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you
Yeah.
probably did see that, John, somewhere. He's like, I wish I could remember where. Well, keep looking. You'll find it, or check out the website with the store located. That's pretty genius.
Mhm.
Good looking on that. All right. I got one last question for you. I wanted to know what's next for Goodland Extracts. Are there any exciting projects or innovations on the horizon? Anything new we should know about coming down the pipeline here?
I mean, we're always working on new product formulations, kind of testing and tweaking and refining our extraction techniques. We actually last week we just finished our third expansion of the lab,
Okay.
and now we're up to north of 600,000 pounds a year processed through our facility. This year we should hit that number this year if things
Wow.
don't break, and
Yeah. Right.
it's
Yeah.
always
Yeah. Yeah.
everlasting. But we plan on launching 3 to 5 new flavors and strengths throughout our beverage lineup. A local food manufacturer actually just recently made an investment in our company, so we're really going to try to grow
Awesome.
the gummies, tinctures, and beverage lineup of things. We're really going to focus on that for
Sure.
the other 3 quarters of 2025. Other than that, just
Right
kind
on.
of keep going, keep chugging away, keep growing, and hopefully bringing more farmers into the mix. I mean, when we got into this, that was the thing. We wanted to help these farmers monetize the crop, right? We
Sure.
went onto this. We have a very good farming industry within the state, and we really want our farmers to kind of become part of that supply chain. The state of Wisconsin and the Wisconsin Economic Development Committee was really helpful in getting us going. They have a thing called a qualified new business venture. We were actually able to get tax credits for our investors when we started. I would love to see them have a program like that for the farmers, where the
Oh,
farmers can go out
100%. Yeah.
and either raise some money for the crop and or help them offset some of their costs with growing with some of these tax credits.
Sure. Nope, I think that'd be great to see as well. And again, it's just really to me, it speaks volumes that you're talking about. I mean, you're moving a lot of stuff through your facility, but the fact that you still want to focus on Wisconsin hemp, again, that's why I'm excited when I get a chance to meet folks like yourself who are trying to help the community of Wisconsin figure this out. And so, just kudos to you and everything you got going over there. Definitely look forward to checking out the place down there in the coming weeks. And we got a question from Chad. Does Ryan have a favorite drink?
Ooh, I mean, Chad, they're all my babies, but I really like the new grape one. I mean, cherry pie was my favorite. It still is, but I really, really, really like the grape one.
The grape. There's grape, orange, root beer, cream city, cherry pie, lemonade. Those are the drinks for the
The
sodas.
grape
Okay.
sky high is the name of the one that I like the
Oh, there we go.
best.
Grape sky high. Okay. So he says the grape sky high if he had to choose now. I've always I have a problem with lemonade. I do the same with yours. I love lemonade. Like I drink that can in 5 seconds. So
It's
I'm interested
tasty.
to try the other one because I do need to focus on flavor sometimes. But lemonade, I feel like my body was made for lemonade. All right, guys, quit judging me. It's a thing.
It's
So
tasty. It's a
uh,
good one.
it is for sure. So well, right on, Ryan. We appreciate you joining the show tonight. If you ever need anything from us, you know how to get in touch with us. Thanks to the listeners for stopping out tonight. We're going to get this thing loaded up on Spotify for those who couldn't make it tonight. Make sure you leave us a comment if you're checking in after we're live. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for stopping out. We'll be back at this thing next week, Wednesday. Until then, stay high, stay informed, and let's legalize Wisconsin. All right. Have a good night, folks.